I'm feeling something that I can't quite describe, and I don't really know why I'm feeling it. It's a familiar feeling, but I can't quite pinpoint it or describe it well enough at the moment. Maybe by the end of this video. I don't know if it's like, I don't like to use the word depression lightly, but it feels like what I think depression feels like. And it's temporary, so I guess it really wouldn't be depression, because I feel like depression is something that's like a long-term chronic thing. Like what I'm feeling is more acute. And I don't quite think it's anxiety, because when I felt anxious, I have felt like really gosh, it's so hard to explain emotions like this. Anxiety to me has felt like a lot of fear, and like there's a lot of physical sensations to go with it. Hold on one sec. It's like hive flea season, and it's been like multiple times a day just having to deal with the fleas. Ugh. Anyways, yeah, just the past 2 days, I've just been in this really funky state, and I'm frustrated. I don't want to be in it, but I don't know how to get myself out of it. Yesterday, I thought that it was just like, because I had been away from home for a few days, and I often find when I get home that I need a lot of decompression time. So when I travel, when I'm just away, like if I'm spending a lot of time doing things like going to events or whatever else is coming up, I feel like I need at least half of a day to recover from that. And yesterday started off like really good because I worked with my assistant Melissa, and I felt like really productive. But when she left, I didn't want to do anything. Like I had planned to go to yoga, and I had planned to have like a meeting that was kind of not urgent, and as soon as she left, I just didn't want to do anything at all. And I ended up taking a nap. I felt really tired, and I thought, maybe I'm just exhausted. So I took like a 3-hour nap. I tried so hard to push through it, and I just couldn't get myself out of that exhausted state. And then, yeah, just the rest of the night, like I just felt really loungy, and I thought, okay, like this happens for me from time to time. I really don't like it when it does, but it just does. And today I've been feeling this like low grade blahness, I guess. And it's especially frustrating because I've been taking such good care of my health. I don't think it's a health thing. It's possible, right? I just feel so frustrated with health sometimes, like because I feel generally really healthy, and I feel like I'm doing everything or almost everything that is recommended. You know, I'm drinking tons of water, and I'm eating organic food and fresh food. And right now I'm doing a very light version of the keto low carb diet, just out of curiosity. And so I'm just eating so much fresh food, like just the most nutrient rich food right now, you know? And also, I guess from my understanding, when you're eating a lot of fats, one of the big reasons that people are proponents of higher fat diets is for brain health, right? So you'd think that or I would think that if I'm adding all these good fats to my body, that my brain would be in like really good shape, and that it would be working really well, and I'd have a ton of energy, and like I don't know. I don't know why I feel this way. Like that, it's just, I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know why I'm feeling it. I don't know how to get out of it. I'm about to go for a walk with Evie and get some sunshine, right? So maybe that'll help, but like I kind of doubt it, because this is one of the things I try when I feel this way. I'll go and I'll take a walk or something. I'll get some fresh air and some sunlight and move my body. And I'm probably going to go to yoga tonight, even though right now I really don't want to. I honestly just don't, I'm getting so emotional about this. I don't want to do anything right now, and I hate that feeling, because I already spent, over half the day yesterday not doing anything, like just lying in bed and sleeping and eating good food and allowing myself to just relax and veg out. And I just want to, I think that's why I feel so frustrated right now, is because I just really, really want to work. But like, I can't, I feel like this huge resistance. And I don't know, is that what I'm experiencing right now? Am I just experiencing resistance? There's this really great book called, I always feel like I'm going to screw up the name. I think it's called The War of Art. And it's about this concept called resistance. And it goes through all these different things that people experience. And I just feel like, is resistance manifesting itself physically, so that I feel bad and thus I can't progress in my life and my career like I want to? To me, I think that what I'm feeling right now is the mental side of things. Because again, physically I feel fine. Like, I got at least 8 hours of sleep last night, and I spent yesterday really resting. And like I said, I feel like I'm just doing everything right physically. Like, I'm just, if you want to see what I had for lunch, you should look at my Instagram. I have a story out today, and then I have a post from yesterday, I think I put that up, of this incredible meal that I discovered at a restaurant, and then I recreated it at home. And it's like, to me, this is a really big deal, because I feel like I'm really taking food even more seriously than I usually do. I'm always very aware. I talked a lot about this in the last video. Part of, I think, a good and bad thing for me, a pro and a con, is like, the pro is that I'm very aware of food, and the con is that I'm very aware of food. So right now it's like, I still have to walk this fine line of, restriction, like not being overly restrictive. And it's interesting with the keto diet, because it does feel pretty restrictive, especially as a vegan. The keto diet has a lot of animal products in it normally. And so doing the keto diet without animal products is challenging, and that's why I'm doing like a light version of it. I'm not following it very strictly. I'm curious about it. But anyways, I'm just, really focused on like fresh vegetables right now. And so I just made this incredible meal for lunch, right? And it's just like bursting with nutrients. And I just feel like I'm taking really good care of my health, and that feels awesome. And then there's just this feeling of like, well, why don't I mentally feel good? And I don't really know the answer right now. Some people that are watching live are asking, do I have too many projects? Is your body telling you to take a break? Like, I don't know. I don't feel stressed at all. I actually don't feel like I have been that productive. I launched a new project about a month ago, and that's been a lot of work, but it hasn't really been that much work. I mean, especially the past week or so. I think it's been about a week since there was a big part of that. We did the 7-day challenge, Jason, who I'm working on this with. So I'm working on a project with somebody else, which cuts down on a lot of time. And B, like the past week, we haven't really been doing that much for it. Like, we've been doing stuff behind the scenes, but like, it's really not that much work. I don't feel stressed out at all, like at all. I know when I feel burnt out, and that's not what this feeling is. I don't feel tired. Like I feel like, I won't say that I'm 100% full of energy. And it's really interesting because I have gotten really into coffee lately, for better or for worse. And like, I'm a little afraid of that, but I'm a little nervous that I'm getting addicted to coffee, but not in the sense of the caffeine. Like, caffeine to me does not feel like that important of a thing. I've never been someone that's like, I've got to have caffeine. To me, coffee is like this like ritual and this like nice experience. And especially now that I'm trying out the keto diet and just being really mindful about like processed sweets and all that stuff. Like, I'm not really eating that many sweets. I'm eating some sweet things, but I've really cut down on like anything sugary or sweet. And so like coffee to me is like that, my sweet treat. And, you know, I make myself these lattes with coconut milk or oat milk, and I'll add in a little stevia, and it's just like this wonderful experience. So I look forward to coffee, but I'm also like worried about like the adrenal side of it, or like crashes. And I also bring it up because oddly, I had 2 cups of coffee today, and I don't know if that's like affected my energy that much. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel great, and I want to feel great. And I also, maybe it's also like fear. Like, I feel today, right now, I'm experiencing some fear because, as I talked about in my last video, I decided that I'm going to get the Tesla Model 3. And it's something I've been thinking about all year for like literally 8 months. And it's just been on my mind constantly. And like, I'm getting all this pressure from my friends because I don't have a car right now. And my friends are all getting like irritated that the fact that I don't have a car. So I'm always asking for rides, or like, it's just complicated things living in Los Angeles. Like, every time I go somewhere, it's like this long process. It's so much harder, you know, like right now I need to go to my mailbox to pick up something, and I have to walk there, which is good because I want to take a walk, but it's like an hour-long process from beginning to end. So it's very time-consuming. And when I go to yoga, I'm taking the train. And train isn't that big of a deal, but it's like I have to walk there, and then I'm always afraid that I'm going to miss it, or what if it's running late? It's like, it's just an added level of pressure. But there's also a lot of pressure getting the Model 3 because it's the most expensive car that I've ever purchased. And I'm nervous about it. And it's brought up a lot for me because I think it's showing me places where I don't feel fully confident in myself. And maybe that's where some of this resistance is coming up for me, and some of these emotions that I'm feeling is that I have like this conscious level of I can do anything I put my mind to. Like, I have this strong determination and willpower I've just always had that. I'm very blessed with that. My family is like that. Like, my entire family's go-getters and entrepreneurs, or my immediate family, my parents and my sister. We all work for ourselves. We all have our own businesses. But like many people, you know, you grow up with some negative viewpoints of money that I've had to spend my whole life working through. And I still feel like I have a lot of areas when it comes to money that I need to work on. And again, I think most people have to do this. And the Model 3 is just kind of showing me my some fears around money. And like, today, literally, I'm going to order it. Like, I just found out a couple hours ago that I can order it. I've been waiting on a variety of things to happen. And I found out just like 2 hours ago that today's the day. And that should be really exciting, but I'm terrified. Like, I find myself like looking for excuses not to order it. And honestly, I could have ordered this car months ago, and I found every excuse not to. And it's like, because it's a really big deal. Like, the car payments are going to be so much, and it's like this expensive car, and like, it's just like terrifying to me, you know, but I'm gonna do it because it's an opportunity for me to fulfill a dream, because I've wanted a Tesla for a long time, and it's also to show myself that I can do something and I have to step up for it. And I think it's just bringing up this little, a lot of us will have different people, like you can say like good and evil on our shoulders or whatever, like, or people in the back of our brains. And like there's this little person, this little guy on my shoulder and my head's being like, are you sure you can do that? Like, this is going to be really hard. And some of my friends and family members will say that too. Like, it's funny how the Tesla's shown me a lot of resistance. And it's like, I'm determined to get the car. Like, consciously, I'm like, I'm getting that car. That's my car. I want it. I'm going to do it despite all odds. And it's really amazing to me how many people like have resistances around the Tesla. Like, there's just this idea that it's only for wealthy people, or like you have to have a lot of money to get it, and it's like this great luxury and all that stuff. And I'm not saying it's an expensive car. I'm getting the least expensive Model 3 currently available, or least expensive Tesla currently available. So it's like, it's not like I'm getting like, the most expensive car out there, but it's just funny to me how people view Tesla as like this out of reach thing. A lot of people do, right? So I've just had to face a lot of resistance through getting this car internally and externally. So it's terrifying, but as soon as I finish this video, there's a very good chance the first thing I'm going to do when I finish this video is go order that car. And it should be really exciting, but it's so scary. It's both, I guess. And I bring that up because when I'm feeling days like this, I just, one of the best things that you can do is shift to being grateful for things and think about things that are going well. And still I get in these mindsets where I just feel like this weird weight, and I don't know where it's coming from. I know it's temporary. That's the good thing. Like, luckily, usually 2 or 3 days in a row is when I'll feel really funky. But every once in a while, I'll get into funks for like a whole month. And I'm terrified of that. It just like, it really gets in the way. Because when I feel this way, I feel like I can't, or I don't know how to overcome it so that I can do the things that are important for me to do. I think if I were to verbalize it, it's like maybe what this is emotions that I've been suppressing coming up all at once. Because it's very common for people to doubt themselves. It's common for people to have low confidence, low self-esteem, and face resistance all the time. And most of the time, I don't. Most of the time, I feel positive and strong and confident and all that stuff. And I wonder if there's just like, maybe I'm like constantly pushing off the negative, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people allow negativity to rule most of their days. And then they put on this front like, oh, I'm really happy and I've got it all figured out. But deep down inside, they don't feel that way. So is it possible that days like this are just all those emotions coming up at once, like I'm detoxing them? I mean, speaking of detox, it's also possible that what I'm feeling right now is a detox because of how much I've changed my diet in the past couple weeks. It's possible that emotions are just arising from my body processing out things. We hold so many emotions in our tissues, and I've been working out so much, so maybe it's just an overall detox. I don't know. It's just really hard for me to be patient when it's going on multiple days feeling like this. And I guess that's other frustration is I don't want to feel this way, but it's like I don't know how to get out of it. And I feel like it can just feel like a trap, I guess, because it's like there's this conscious side of me that's talking to you right now and expressing all this. And then there's like this weird, like, it almost feels like I'm possessed or something, if that makes sense. I know I'm not possessed, but like, it feels like there's something in my body that isn't mine. It's like there's a stranger in me or something. It's such a bizarre feeling. And I guess maybe it feels what maybe depression is, or again, whatever like low moods are. It's like feels like a really severe mood swing or something. I remember feeling this way in college, and I was seeing a psychiatrist at the time because that's what my doctor had recommended to me. So my first round of therapy was with a psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist helped me work through my eating disorder for the most part. And I also thought that I was depressed, so I took antidepressants when I was in college, and they didn't seem to make a difference at all. And I remember thinking, like, this is ridiculous. Like, why am I taking these? So I went off of them. But I remember very clearly one day in college feeling something similar to what I'm describing right now. I remember, like, being in my dorm room and, like, just feeling this, like, it's like this antsy, like, I don't want to feel this way, but I feel trapped. Like, I can't escape it. And so I'll try to do all of these things, but it feels like I'm dragging around this like heavy weight, and I can't let it go. And I don't know how to let it go. I think a lot of it's also just built up anxiety, not anxiety. I feel like people throw around the words of anxiety and depression and whatever else very like whatever, right? Like, just like people throw around words like fat, like I'm fat when they're not fat, and I'm depressed when maybe they're not clinically depressed, or I have anxiety when like that's not really what's going on. Like, I take words like that very seriously. Whatever it is that I'm feeling, which again, I just don't know if there's a name for it. I just do feel like it's kind of a buildup of a lot of unhealthy mental thoughts. And maybe that's just what this is. Today and yesterday, I've just found myself feeling discouraged about things, which is weird. Again, it's like, it's almost like the split personality because consciously I'm like, I have my whole life ahead of me and everything's going great, and I feel in control of my life, and I feel grateful, and I feel there's so much happiness. Like, there's just so much goodness in my life. Nothing, I can't even pinpoint one bad thing that's happened off the top of my head. Except, this was really weird. This is just a little side note, but when I woke up this morning, I have an Apple Watch that I've had for like 3 or 4 years now. And somehow it broke, the screen broke on it, but I have no idea how that happened. And it was like this creepy feeling of like, how did my watch break without me knowing it? You know, like, did I get up in the middle of the night and like smash it? That's possible. One thing I'm getting today, actually part of the reason I'm going to my mailbox, is I'm getting this really cool security camera, and I'm going to install it and see. I'm not entirely sure how it works yet, but you can install it, connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can like check in on your animals. So I'm going to use it to like keep track of Evie when I'm not at home. I've always been curious what she does when I'm not here. She probably just sleeps all day, but I'm going to track Evie, and then I'm also going to see if it'll work for me to track my sleepwalking, because I have used a sleep recorder to record sleep talking. I talk in my sleep very, very frequently, but I also sleepwalk, and usually I remember when I sleepwalk, but when I saw my watch this morning with the screen shattered, I'm like, how did that happen without me realizing it? Unless, like, it dropped at another point yesterday and I just didn't notice. Like, that's probably more likely. But the other part of me is like, did I somehow break the watch in like the middle of the night and not realize it? So I'll keep you guys posted about that. I'm going to do some videos on my other channel about this camera. But anyways, yeah, it's very frustrating. You know, I think that I have a big desire to be in control, and probably the real reason I'm frustrated right now is because I don't feel in control. I feel like, again, something else is in control of my body right now, and I don't know what it is. I don't know how to stop it, and maybe I can't stop it. Like, maybe there are just times where we feel bad about ourselves and we don't have the tools, or we might just not have control. I mean, there's only so much we can control about our bodies and our lives, right? And maybe what I'm feeling is just feeling a feeling of overall out of controlness. Like maybe the emotions are there because I feel out of control and scared. And then on top of that, I also feel frustrated that I'm feeling that way, if it makes sense. So it's just like this circular domino effect where I feel like I'm trying really hard and working on all sorts of things, and the timing is not what I want it to be. I mean, it might just be as simple as that. I wish that more people would talk about these things, because I just don't know if people go through these same type of emotions. You know, I know that people get down on themselves and feel depressed and frustrated and alone and all of that. But I don't know if people quite talk about it in this way, of like those times where it's not easy to label or define. Maybe that's also a part of it, is like, I think a lot of people feel really confused and alone and just unsure if other people feel that way too. And that's one of my goals with this channel, is to just share openly, because if any of you are feeling this way, at least you know that you're not alone. And you know, I have a big passion for building community. I've struggled a lot with it. Like right now, I don't know what's going to happen with Eco Vegan Pal. It was a project I was really excited about, but now I feel really frustrated with, because, you know, one of the ongoing frustrations is, I think this is part of it. This has been like coming up for a lot for me lately. Is I'm somebody that loves to start new projects, and has a lot of big ambitions about like things that I can do to help other people. But it drives me absolutely crazy when I put something out there and there's either people that don't respond at all, or people that like get involved but like stay very passive. I'm not really a passive person. I don't know if I would label myself at all as passive. I'm very active and involved in things. And like projects like Eco Vegan Pal, I was really excited about, because I wanted to build a community where people felt supported. And like, I've tried to build so many communities over the years, and it is like so hard to get people to participate. And I think like what's really tough for me to wrap my brain around is that, like with Eco Vegan Pal, I had tons of people join it, but like a couple people were active. And the whole point of a community is for people to be supporting one another, and I have not yet figured out, how do you get everybody or the great majority of people to be active? Why would you join something if you're not going to be active? I've created so many Facebook groups, and it's like, I get so frustrated when people join and then don't participate at all. It's like a lot of people just want to be there to be bystanders. But I'm horrible currently at running groups like that, because I inevitably get really frustrated and then just don't do anything to engage people, because I'm like, what's the point? Why am I spending all this time putting work into something when only a few people are active with it? So I've put Eco Vegan Pal on hold because of that very reason. I've tried so many times at the beginning of this year, like the first 3 or 4 months of this year, I was like really trying to ramp up Eco Vegan Pal. And it's like I would put all this effort into creating like a book club or a movie club or all these different ideas I had, and like only a few people would be interested, and then nobody would show up. And like restarting the book club is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I even have somebody that wants to be involved with that in Los Angeles, but like I'm just worried that we're going to put all this time and effort into something, and then like it's like a couple people are involved with it, and it's like I don't know. It's even like with these videos, like I get really frustrated doing YouTube videos. On this channel, it's different because like I'm just not unattached to how many people comment or watch or subscribe. Like it's fine. But like on my main Eco Vegan Gal channel, I get so annoyed because the views are so low at this point. I'm like, why am I even bothering? I guess maybe that's part of the feeling that I'm having right now, is I'm just like, there's this gap between what I want to be happening and what is happening. And maybe everybody feels that way a lot of the time, because life feels like a lot of filling in the gap between the middle and the beginning and the end, you know? So I'm just trying to process all of that and figure out where is my time and energy best spent, what's most important, how can I best be a service, what makes a difference and what really matters. And I don't know, it's very confusing. Okay, well, I don't know what else to say about this, so I'm going to wrap up today, and thank you to those of you who have been watching live. I really appreciate each of you. Truly, especially those that watch regularly and comment regularly. You're one of the huge reasons that I keep going with projects like this channel. And yeah, I know this will pass and it's temporary. I've been through this many times before. It's just that I share it because it's therapeutic to share, and I share it because I hope that either you get whatever you're getting out of this, whether it's just to see insight into me and who I am, or just so that you know you're not alone. You know, these are the type of conversations I struggle to have with friends. I have some really good friends and some really good people in my life, and, you know, I have a lot of really amazing people. But it's so interesting how it's easier to share in a video sometimes than it is to share with somebody. I remember like in high school and college, I'd have these long conversations with friends, and I think I stopped having a lot of them because I felt like misunderstood or something. You know, a lot of times people want to just give you advice and perspective, and it doesn't really help, but having somebody just listen is huge. And so I think that's why this channel is such a blessing, because it feels good to be listened to. And those of you that don't comment, you don't even really need to comment, because you're watching, you're listening, and that's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I'm grateful for you, as much as I crave like comments and interaction, because I want to get to know you and I want to feel like a relationship with you. In a way, it's pretty amazing when people just bear witness to what you're going through. So thank you for that. Okay, I'm gonna go for my walk and get my new camera. I'm really excited. Actually, that is bringing me joy. I love getting new gadgets. So I think that's what I'm getting from my mailbox today. A lot of times it's a surprise. You'll find out very soon. It might be in this week's live video on Facebook. So until next time, thank you for being in my life. And I'm wishing you all the very best with whatever you're going through in your life. Bye.